So yeah, welcome everyone. We have a number of people who are going to speak today at the EON BAMN Equal Opportunity Now by Any Means Necessary Caucus Press Conference on demanding that the schools remain closed, that we continue 100% distance learning, and calling on teachers to vote no on the tentative agreement. That the tentative agreement that has been released Saturday night includes a mandate that all staff return to the sites on April 14th. It calls and plans for students to start coming to school at the end of this month, virtually in probably less than 2 weeks, and to start full phasing in of in-person students at the sites on April 19th. This has to be rejected. The schools are only going to be safe if we vaccinate everyone. We offer the vaccine to everyone, and I mean teachers, staff, and students. The students should be the last to be being brought together in groups. They're, as a group, the least, they're unvaccinated. They're 100% unvaccinated. That is the last folks you want to bring together. If we bring together students at schools, we're creating a petri dish for the further development of the COVID mutations. We already have the UK mutation as the dominant mutation in the US. Brazil is being wiped out by the Brazilian mutation, which has a very bad combination of not only being more transmissible, but also being more deadly and more able to evade the vaccines. Bringing children together is going to mean that it's opportunity for the virus to do what it does, which is evolve in the direction of finding the variation of the virus that spreads best in the population, which in this case would be children, will be the dominant virus. We have to reject. We have to reject this. We need to stand up as teachers, as community members, as parents. We stand up for Oakland, and in particular, the Black and Latino communities of Oakland, as we all know, have been the hardest hit by the COVID virus. And this plan would further deepen the inequality that they're experiencing, because one, they're the least vaccinated so far, by far. Two, if schools open full time, or even if they open in hybrid and your child has access to the school, let's say 3 days a week, then the pandemic aid and unemployment that people have been getting is cut. If the school's open full time, it's fully cut. If it's open 3 days a week, it's cut by 3 days. And they may say, oh, we'll keep an option of distance learning, but that option is only any good for the parents who can afford it. You're going to be forced as a poor, working class, Black Latino family to go out and work and put your children in school in order to put food on the table and keep a roof over your head. That is blatantly racist. It's going to very much deepen the already deep inequalities in Oakland. We have to reject this. It's reckless. It endangers the lives of children. Taking it home endangers the lives of their families, children can become infected. They do spread it, COVID. They do die from COVID. In the UK now, partly blamed on the UK variant, children are the most rapidly growing group of infected people. Last point. I believe that the district is pushing for this precisely because they know we're very likely to be back up in the next peak within a few weeks. Europe, who were a few weeks behind, is already declaring they're in the third wave. There's no reason to think that the US will be any different. The mutations that are there are here. The policy of color-coded tiers is exactly the policy that failed in Germany, in Italy, in France, around Europe. This is not a conjecture. We can look at what happens. And in Oakland, there was a survey by the district only last week. And would parents prefer distance? Would they prefer in person? Did they, not answer? And looking at that map, it's well worth doing because you can see that in East Oakland, the majority of families wanted to either have continued distance learning or did not answer the questionnaire at all. Yes, in the hills, there was many more calling for return to school. And it's easy to say why. I mean, we're not going to allow the majority and the Black and Latino communities, the working class communities, be dictated to by the hills, by those parents who say we have to go back. That's not right. So I call on all the teachers who are watching to vote no on the tentative agreement and really call for the community to stand up against this vicious and really criminal plan and tentative agreement. And last thing I'll say is Wednesday at 5 o'clock, EON BAM is holding a car caravan, and I want to invite anybody who's watching to come. And it's going to be starting at East Oakland Pride Elementary School, which is at 8000 Birch, 5 o'clock. So invite everyone. Thank you. And next we'll have Adrienne Hogue speak.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Adrienne Hogue. I am a special education resource teacher at East Oakland Pride Elementary School. And I am also an organizer with EON BAM Caucus. In the district survey that was sent out to parents last week, my school was heavily in favor of remaining distance only for the remainder of the year. 48% responded that they wanted to remain distance only. Only 36% wanted even an in-person option, and about 15% didn't even have the chance to respond. And this is not surprising. The zip code of East Oakland Pride, where I work, 94621, is well into the purple tier. The TA that is being brought by OEA and agreed on by OUSD completely abandons the language that our union had put forward righteously in the beginning of this pandemic, saying that we were committed to not returning to in-person school until there were low transmission rates, near zero cases in every zip code. Right now, Alameda County is in the red tier at 5 new cases per day per 100,000 residents, while 94621 is well into the purple tier at 18 cases per day per 100,000 residents, nearly over 3 times that of Alameda County. So it is not surprising that in these neighborhoods, in the region of Deep East Oakland, that there was a parent preference to remain online. There have been many parents that have spoken out at the school board meeting, predominantly Black and Latino parents, predominantly from these areas that have said, I'm very worried if we return to distance learn, to return to in-person, we will lose the support we need. We will lose the technology we need. I've heard parents say to the school board, you know, I want my child to get vaccinated, which they have a right to want that safety for their child. And I agree with them. And I've heard, you know, a small, very vocal, very privileged group of people who, you know, claim to attend Hills schools, attack these parents, call Oakland an embarrassment. The only thing that is embarrassing about Oakland is that the lack of care for the communities that I serve, that I live in, that this agreement expresses. There is nothing in the TA about any kind of safety measures. There's nothing concrete. It continues to say, we'll develop a safety plan. If they haven't developed a safety plan in the last year, I don't know why they will be able to develop a safety plan in the next 2 weeks. This makes no sense to any teacher, student, or parent. By the time when it says that all schools at all levels will open no later than April 19th. This includes my school, which showed a preference for not returning to in-person instruction. We will only have 20-something days left in the school year. Just enough time for families to get infected. From the beginning of this, I have been far more concerned about the families of my students than I have been of myself. I have health insurance. You know, I have the benefit of being treated at the hospital the way white people get treated at the hospital. I am not going to go into a situation where I am vaccinated and I know that very few, if any, of the parents of the children I teach have been vaccinated, of their grandparents. I refuse to do this. And I call on all Oakland teachers to stand for our students, to stand for their health, for their right to safety. We should not allow the imposition of the desires of white parents in the Hills to dictate what happens in our schools for the education of Black and Latino students whose families are far more at risk, are far more likely to contract the virus, and are far more likely to die. And so with that, I would like to hand it over. Sorry, go ahead.
I might have been on mute. I was sorry. I was just trying. I know Mari Cruz Lopez is going to be our next speaker. She's an organizer with By Any Means Necessary, civil rights organization in Oakland. And I think we need students. We need the community. We need students and parents to make a special plea, urge their teachers to vote no on the tentative agreement and let the teachers know they stand with them in opposing this agreement. No school should be reopened until students and everyone is vaccinated, and the students really have a role to play here in urging their teachers to vote no. They have the most authority in this situation. They live it. So I would really like to ask for that from students who are watching and from parents. So Mari Cruz Lopez, please.
Thank you. I'm gonna first speak in Spanish for the Spanish-speaking parents and media. So I'll give my statement first in Spanish and then in English. Mi nombre es Maricruz López. Soy organizadora con BAMN, el Grupo para Derechos Civiles por Cualquier Medio Necesario. El acuerdo entre el Sindicato de Maestros de Oakland y el Distrito Escolar de Oakland es una traición de la gente más vulnerable de Oakland. Es un plan racista y de discriminación contra la gente inmigrante afroamericana y latina y minoría y pobre. No representa la mayoría de maestros quienes no están de acuerdo con el peligroso plan de reapertura del distrito y le urgimos a estos maestros que voten no en ese acuerdo. Si el distrito es permitido mover adelante con su plan de reapertura de escuelas y los estudiantes regresan a las aulas por tiempo completo 5 días a la semana o de una forma hybrid, se les cancelará a los beneficios de desempleo bajo la asistencia de desempleo por la pandemia. Y para las familias que mantengan a sus hijos en aprendizaje en línea, también se les cancelarán los beneficios de desempleo porque las escuelas han reabierto y su hijo califica para asistir en persona de acuerdo al distrito. El aprendizaje en línea no es perfecto, pero regresar a las clases en persona es más peligroso. Esta política de reapertura discrimina contra la gente afroamericana, latina de Oakland, quienes son menos probables de tener las opciones y los recursos que tienen la gente blanca y rica para mantener a sus hijos fuera de las escuelas. BAMN está luchando para que los beneficios de asistencia de desempleo por la pandemia sean disponibles para todos, incluyendo a la gente indocumentada. Las comunidades latinas y afroamericanas han sido afectados brutalmente por el COVID-19, con las tasas de muerte más altas que otras comunidades. Por eso no debe haber ninguna reapertura de escuelas hasta que haya 0 casos de COVID-19 en nuestras comunidades y todos, maestros, padres y niños, estén vacunados. Ahorita no hay vacunas para niños y no están disponibles hasta el fin de año o el próximo año. Así que tenemos que esperar hasta que las vacunas para niños estén seguras y disponibles. Y hasta ese entonces las escuelas tienen que permanecer cerradas. Si el distrito escolar de Oakland valora a sus estudiantes, entonces deberá mantener sus escuelas cerradas y el aprendizaje en línea. No a la reapertura de escuelas, no está seguro, mantengan las escuelas cerradas. I'll just say it in English. My name is Maricruz Lopez. I'm an organizer with the civil rights group BAMN by Any Means Necessary. Our full name is the Coalition to Defend Affirmative Action, Integration, Immigrant Rights, and Fight for Equality by Any Means Necessary. And the TA between Oakland teachers, the Oakland Teachers Union, and the OEA and the Oakland School District is a betrayal of the most vulnerable people in Oakland. It is a racist and discriminatory plan against the immigrant, Black, Latino, and minority and poor people. It does not represent the majority of teachers who do not agree with the district's dangerous plan for reopening, and we urge these teachers to vote no on the TA. If the district is allowed to move forward with its school reopening plan and students return to classrooms full-time, 5 days a week, or under a hybrid plan, their unemployment benefits under the pandemic unemployment assistance will be terminated. And for families who keep their children in online learning, unemployment benefits will also be canceled because schools have reopened and their child qualifies to attend in person according to the district. Online learning isn't perfect, but going back to classes in person is more dangerous. This reopening policy discriminates against Black, Latino, and other minority people in Oakland who are less likely to have the options and resources that rich white people have to keep their children out of school. BAMN is fighting to make the PUA benefits available to everyone, including undocumented people. Latino and Black communities have been brutally affected by COVID-19 with death rates higher than other communities. That is why there should be no reopening of schools until there are 0 cases of COVID-19 in our communities and everyone, teachers, parents, children, is vaccinated. There will not be a safe vaccine for children until later this year or next year, and we must wait until there's a safe vaccine for children before reopening schools. Until then, schools must remain closed. If the Oakland School District values its students, it must keep its schools closed and learning online. No to reopening schools. It is not safe. Keep the schools closed. And now I would like to have one of the parents of
Yeah,
the
we
Oakland
have,
School.
Mari, we have a number of parents here. And one parent, I believe Manuel is here.
Yeah, I'd like
who's,
to translate for him.
Father of Marina, who's an Oakland student. Manuel, are you here?
Señor Manuel, si quiere hablar ahorita, yo puedo traducir para usted.
Is it me or can nobody hear?
I can't hear. It's cutting out.
Manuel, we cannot hear. I don't know if you can move to a place you have better signal or.
A ver, señor Manuel, no se escucha, no sé si tiene otro lugar donde puede conseguir una señal mejor. A ver, es un poquito mejor, pero no sé si hay otro, otro lugar donde. No, todavía no se escucha muy bien. A ver, tenemos un problema con su conexión.
Okay, maybe Manuel can keep working on it. I don't know if there's another phone or anything available, and we could just have another speaker and then see if things are workable.
A ver, mientras
So-
usted trabaja en reparar la conexión, nosotros vamos a movernos a otra
Dele,
persona
hable.
y después regresamos. A ver, ¿ya?
Aló,
A ver, ahora sí se escucha.
se está reconectando.
Ahora sí ya lo escuchamos.
Si no te escuchan.
Señor Manuel.
¿Hoy se me escucha, señor Maricruz?
Sí, sí, ya lo escuchamos.
Álvarez y fui uno de los
Dispositivos del coronavirus.
Hello, my name is
Lamentable,
Alvarez, and
Albert.
I tested positive for coronavirus.
Okay.
Y por poquito que pierdo mi vida y no sé en dónde fue que agarré esa enfermedad. Yo no a mi casa y eso es lo que desnudo, póngale para 15 días en cama, sin comer, solo a pura y a que mi hijo.
A ver, señor Manuel, otra vez lo estamos perdiendo. I'm telling him we're losing him again. Otra vez lo estamos perdiendo conexión.
In the meantime, would you, maybe I can
Yes,
go?
please, Ashley.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes,
okay,
Ashley,
sorry.
Sorry.
Richardson is another parent from Oakland.
Okay. So my name is Ashley Richardson. I have four children currently. Oh, I think maybe he got it now.
Bueno,
Mari, can you just tell them that we're going to go through one speaker and then try him again?
señor Manuel, vamos a tomar a otra persona y después regresamos a usted.
Okay.
Okay, Ashley.
Okay. So my name is Ashley Richardson. I am a parent of 5 kids, 4 currently currently in the Oakland school system, and I have one that is that will be joining this coming school season. I know myself as a parent, I think it's highly concerning that they want kids to return back to school 100% unvaccinating until late fall of this year. Seeing that schools are a breeding ground for flus, viruses, bacteria, I do not understand the logic behind thinking that telling children, again, I just want to say, I want to emphasize the word children, to be 6 feet apart, to wear a mask, to keep hands to themselves is already a fail in itself. It is absolutely ludicrous to assume that they'd be able to do this successfully. If you just walk through a grocery store, you see tons of kids pulling their masks down and or not wearing them at all. What it boils down to is the money value they put on in-person students attending the school and not their well-being. You want my children to return back to school simply because their teachers are vaccinated, but their classmates are unvaccinated. It does not make sense. It is just a breeding ground for something to grow larger. My service is going in and out. You guys are frozen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hi, we can hear you.
Okay. It just sounds like a mess to me. All I know is that my children will not be guinea pigs to this school system. And I just stand against in-person learning. My children will not be returning back to school. It does not make sense at all. Those are my views on it.
Great. Thank you so much, Ashley. Okay, we are continuing, I believe, with another parent, and we'll keep trying. Is Joya Brandon here?
I'm here.
Oh, hi, Joya. Yes, Joya is a
Hi.
parent of Oakland student, also a teacher in another district. You want to go ahead, Joya?
Sure. So I am a former teacher in OUSD. Fortunately, my niece attends East Oakland Pride in Oakland with some really great teachers. But one thing I want to bring to the attention of those in the community that have the greatest impact is we should not have these discussions about reopening until it's absolutely safe. I'm talking about ventilation. I've taught in Oakland, so I know the struggles that come along with some of the school buildings in terms of trying to make sure the buildings are safe and can accommodate the ventilation needs. But even before we get to that, my whole thing is like, we can't return to normal, right? So the students, teachers, staff, community, we are charting into new territory. So we should not even have this discussion around returning back to the classroom at this time. And then the students would be returning back to what exactly, right? We know that unfortunately, districts are being motivated by these financial incentives to return back to the classroom. But again, that is returning back to normal, returning back to the classroom for students to get prepared for state testing during a pandemic. Like, that's classist and that's racist and it's ridiculous. So the pressure to reopen schools from these AstroTurf parent groups who are coming from God knows where has been economically and emotionally harming to those of us on the ground in the flats of Oakland. The students, the parents, the teachers, they are putting our lives in harm's way. This does not make sense. We have to prioritize the voices and the concerns of the parents and those in the community that are centrally localized where these schools are housed. Again, the financial incentive to reopen schools cannot supersede the human effect that is still happening with this pandemic. And so, you know, a lot of folks have been saying, well, teachers have been vaccinated, we need to reopen. Okay, great. But also take a look at who has been jumping the line in our communities, in our Black and brown communities to get vaccinated. Who has been jumping the line? More affluent parents and folks who do not belong to the community. So again, the community spread is a concern. We have to take in the voices and concerns of the parents and the students and those teachers who have spoken to the need to not reopen at this time. To reopen for 20 days to get prepared for state testing is extremely harmful, and this will definitely create more stress among students. Why not use this 20 days to continue to build in social and emotional capacity, learnings? That way, if and when we do return in the fall, students will feel mentally and physically safe. To return to the classroom right now will cause more harm, and we cannot do that at all. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joya. I think we have Manuel now, I believe, Mary. You're on mute, Mari, if you're not trying to be.
Pues sí me escucha.
Sí, dele.
Ahora, pues sí, buenas tardes. Como le estaba explicando, pues yo fui una víctima del coronavirus, pues, y
Just like
no
I was trying to
quisiera que
explain,
hubieran más personas
I was a victim of coronavirus, and I would hate
personas
for other people
que
to
enfermen,
to
¿verdad?
fall
Porque yo
victim to
pensé que
coronavirus.
otros 2 días más que hubiera estado malo, pues yo me hubiera fallecido.
Another 2
Yo,
days
pues,
that I would
yo
be
en los
sick, I would
últimos
have
4 días
died.
que me dieron, cuando comencé con el síntoma, me dolía mucho mi pecho, no podía respirar,
When I started with the
mucha
symptoms,
calentura.
my chest hurt
Póngale,
a lot.
cuando ya
I
llevaba
had a fever.
como 10 días, cuando no podía dormir, cuando yo me desperté esa vez, póngale, yo cuando quise escupir, yo escupí pura
I
sangre
couldn't sleep
negra,
for about 2 to 10 days. When I would throw
lo
up, I would
quité,
throw
pura
up blood.
sangre, puros bojotes de sangre,
I would
ya
throw up
mis
just
pulmones,
blood.
y yo cuando tosía, yo me quedaba como que me iba a morir, no
When I
alcanzaba
would cough,
resuello,
I felt like I wanted to die,
y la verdad, pues, no le deseo esto a nadie, porque
and
es
I would not wish this on
muy fea
anyone.
la enfermedad, no a todos le da lo mismo, pero
It's a
en mi
horrible
caso,
disease. Not everybody is
póngale,
the same.
póngale, le digo a las personas que
Like I always
no es
tell
justo que
people,
hagan esto, que quieran abrir las escuelas.
it's not fair that they want to open
Póngale,
schools.
esto está muy mal.
This is
Uno
very
tal
wrong.
vez aguanta las cosas de esa enfermedad muy dura.
A
Un niño
grown
no lo va a
person maybe
aguantar.
can withstand this horrible disease, but a child could not withstand it.
Y no está bien, lo que quieren hacer no está bien.
And this is not right what they're trying to do. It's not right.
Thank you so much, Manuel. Thank you.
Manuel,
Muchas gracias, Manuel.
Sí,
Manuel, ¿podría
Ok,
decir si
señor.
recibió ayuda de la escuela o del
no,
estado?
yo
¿Ha
no
recibido
recibí
ayuda?
nada.
And have you
No ha
received any
recibido, no ha
help from the
recibido
state
nada.
or from the schools? No, I have not received any kind of aid.
¿Ha recibido comunicación de la escuela preguntándole qué piensa de reabrir las escuelas?
Have you received any communication from the school
No,
about what you
fíjese,
think
pues,
about
el motivo,
reopening schools?
pues a mí no me ha llamado nadie.
I have not received any communication, and nobody has called me.
¿Qué le diría a usted a los políticos que quieren reabrir su escuela y mandar a Marina, a su hija, a la escuela?
What would you say to the politicians that want to reopen
No,
schools and
pues,
send your
yo soy
daughter back to
yo
school?
soy uno que no estoy de acuerdo que hagan eso.
I would say I am not in
Porque
agreement with
póngale,
what they
ya
would,
falta poquito
what
para
they
que
were trying to
terminen
do.
las clases y por no dar tiempo, tan siquiera póngale para que se termine
Because it's
15 o 20 días, van a ser una tragedia, pues no está bien.
it's such a short time before school gets out anyway, just 15, 20 days. It's going to be a tragedy.
Gracias, Manuel. Está ahí Marina, ¿verdad?
Thank you, Manuel. Is Marina
Sí.
there?
Okay, bye.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hola, Marina. Decías que también querías compartir algo con nosotros también, ¿verdad?
Hello, Marina. You said you wanted to
Sí,
share something with us too? Yes.
Es que también quería hablar sobre la escuela.
I also wanted to talk about school.
Pues mis maestros, recibo clases todos los días y una maestra dijo que ahorita en abril quieren abrir las escuelas.
Well,
Y
I go to
quieren
school every day, and a teacher said that they wanted to reopen schools,
y quieren que regresemos de nuevo a la escuela ahorita en abril.
and
Y
they
pues
wanted to go
mi
back to
papá
school in
me
April.
dice que él no me va a dejar ir a la escuela porque los maestros dicen que si no vamos a perder el año.
And my dad said he's not gonna let me go back to school, but the teachers say that if we don't go back, we're going to miss the rest of the school year.
Y pues yo también tengo miedo porque por esto del coronavirus apenas ha nacido mi primito y no quisiera ir a contagiarme a la escuela y luego venir a contagiar a mi familia.
And I'm afraid of the coronavirus because I just have a newborn cousin, and I'm afraid of going to school and getting infected and coming home and infecting my family.
Porque ya pasé una vez con mi papá, yo estuve ayudándole, estuve 15 días lejos de él para no contaminarme.
And I already went through it with my father. I was helping him. I spent 15 days away from him so that I wouldn't get infected.
Porque mi papá estaba muy enfermo, él ya se moría y yo le estuve pidiendo a Dios que nos ayudara todo. Y pues gracias a Dios él pudo salir de su enfermedad. Y
And
más por eso ahora tengo miedo de ir a la escuela, ir a contagiarme y venir a contagiar a toda mi familia.
and my father was very sick. I prayed to God that he would get well, and thankfully, thanks to God, he did get well. And that's why I'm afraid of going back to school and getting infected and coming back and infecting my whole family.
Ujú.
Muchas gracias,
Pues
Marina. Sorry.
Ok. Sí, también quería decirles que sobre lo que estaba hablando, esa vez ¿se acuerda la vez que estábamos hablando, don José?
Sí.
Pues también quería decirles que pues yo estaba hablando con don José diciéndole que no nos han dado ayuda de la escuela y más bien los maestros, pues a mí no me dieron internet, solo me dieron la computadora y pues para entrar a mis clases he estado sufriendo mucho porque no tengo internet y lo que las maestras dicen que podemos ir a la escuela a pedir ayuda, pero mi papá me dice que a la escuela yo no vaya porque quién sabe, ha de andar alguien contaminando ahí
So
a todos y yo lo podría agarrar y venir a contaminar a mi familia.
I was talking before that the teachers do not give you internet. They give you a computer, but not internet. And so they say that you can go to school and get help there. But I do not want to go to school and get anything there because you can go there and get infected. And then I don't want to go there and get infected and come back and bring anything back home.
Gracias, Marina. Gracias, Manuel.
Ok, de nada. Gracias a ustedes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Gracias, Lady. Gracias, Manuel.
I think the internet just keeps cutting off, so we should probably move on.
Mark, I don't know if you're able to call on people.
I'm sorry, I had my mute on. I apologize. So I was just saying we have a number of people who want to speak. And I want to give as many people a chance as possible. So, you know, I'm going to have Vanessa go, and then Shanta, and then Sharon for the next three. Vanessa?
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Vanessa Campuzano, and I am a parent of a third grader at La Escuelita Elementary School. I definitely do not agree with the kids going back to school. It is unsafe. I've attended multiple OUSD Zoom calls, and it's a lot of the what if, and this is the plan, but every school is different. I myself was a student of the Oakland Unified School District, and I know from firsthand experience the lack of resources that OUSD students have, the lack of budget cuts each year. So now all of a sudden with this pandemic, now there's money, now they have enough money for PPO, PPT, something like that. And it's like, where did all this money come from? Which every year we get told that art class is going to get cut off because there's not enough money. PE class is going to get cut off because there's not enough money. How is this whole in-person going to work for the kids? If any, like our children are just seen as a number for money. That is what they're seen for. They're not seen as people that they care about. They don't care about our students. Like, teachers get placed in a classroom of 28 kids. To be honest with you, how much attention can the teacher offer our students? Not a lot. Now all of a sudden they are able to reduce the numbers for the classrooms so that our children can better succeed in their education. It makes no sense to me why. I've attended these OUSD Zoom calls, and they only answer or only let certain amount of parents talk. And majority of the parents that talk are parents that their children go to OUSD schools in the hills, where they have more of a budget and have better opportunities than our kids from East Oakland and West Oakland. The surveys, for example, a lot of our parents are not tech savvy. They don't understand. And a lot of the parents are saying yes to going back to school, but it's not really because they feel safe. If anything, it's because they feel that I have to make an income. I am the breadwinner of the family. Therefore, I have to go to work. I can't allow my child to keep being at home by themselves while I'm at work. It's more of that safety. I don't want my child to go back to school. However, I feel that it is better for them to go back to school because of the lack of resources that this family may have. And it's like that communication barrier, I feel that has a big effect on it. So I totally disagree on the kids going back to school. I don't think it's right for teachers to go back to school because it's their safety. They have their families, they have their kids. Like, yes, we have COVID assessments. How accurate are they? They're not that accurate. There's so many asymptomatic people. I myself was asymptomatic. I got COVID, don't know how I got COVID, and then I infected my rest of my household. And it's like, we were lucky enough that I was able to take that time off from my job and still get paid. But that's because of the job that I have. A lot of families don't have that opportunity, which even if they know that they're sick and they don't want to continue the spread, unfortunately they have to make sure that they get their needs met. So I totally disagree with this. I think that the OUSD really needs to listen. They don't even take the time to look at all the OUSD schools. Like, some of the buildings are super old that don't even like qualify for the whole air ventilation thing that's been going on. Like, they're not being realistic. A lot of the schools have portables. Like, how is there a lot of like air ventilation now? Like, it just pisses me off, and it makes the teachers not like, they can't even voice 100% because they're maybe at risk of losing their jobs. And then, so it's a sticky situation, and it pisses me off because the people that have the power to make decisions aren't from where our students are from. They don't really understand. They're talking based on numbers, the quantity over the quality. And it's like, that's why our system is the way that it is, and why it frustrates us, because a lot of the resources and places that where we can advocate, we don't know of, or we're not aware of these resources. So that was my opinion. I'm sorry for talking too fast. It pisses me off. But I definitely want to get more involved in this movement. If there's any way that I can help, please let me know. And yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have Shanta, and then Sharon, and then Edwin are the next three. And then we have four more after that, and I think we'll probably have to wrap up. So Shanta Driver's the national chair for BAM.
Thank you. I'm really excited and glad to be a part of this press conference. I want to make 2 points. First, teachers are some of the most respected people that live in any community. People believe in teachers, and they believe that teachers are honest, will tell the truth, will do what they can under any circumstances to protect their students and make sure that education, public education, is of real benefit to the people that they teach. During this crisis, we've seen a number of people, a number of organizations, including the CDC, which used to be so highly regarded, be prepared to throw away that reputation for honesty and public concern and lie and lie and lie, and the lies haven't stopped. And because the CDC has gotten away with lying, then school districts have been prepared to hide behind the CDC to explain why they are able to open at this point. And it just continues like that. And I don't think there are a whole lot of people that really trust in Oakland. I know many other cities that trust what the district is saying or doing in contending that it's safe for people to return to schools, when they know damn well that they haven't done anything, that they have not addressed any of the ventilation or other safety issues that exist in those schools, and they're just going to warehouse people back. I don't think teachers' reputation should be spoiled, and I don't think it has to be. I think it is so important for Oakland to take the lead in showing teachers across the nation you can continue to be trusted. You can continue to be honest. You can continue to be highly respected, and under these circumstances, to be seen as one of the few groups of people prepared to champion the cause of children and youth in this society. And that is really important. I feel like this is a civil rights issue and a human rights issue. It goes so beyond just what is happening in Oakland, because Oakland is known as a place that is left-wing, that is tough, that is resilient, that is prepared to fight. And I think that if Oakland can take this stand that no, we teachers are not going to accept a tentative agreement which pushes us and our students back into incredibly unsafe conditions. If Oakland teachers can take that stand, I believe it would spread. The second thing I want to say is all this talk about the necessity of opening schools to get certain kinds of funding is a lie. I promise this to the teachers and the people of Oakland. If Oakland doesn't reopen, there is absolutely no way that the state government or the federal government or the local Oakland government entities can refuse to give Oakland the money that is being given to other districts. It can't happen. It would be a political scandal. It would be something that could result in marches in Sacramento and in Oakland and all through the Bay Area and California that could be as significant and as large as the turnouts for George Floyd. So I think that pretend carrot, which is there to try to force teachers back into schools, is another falsehood, is just one more lie. And I hope that Oakland can take the lead and show every teacher across this nation, hey, just stand and fight, just hold your ground. You have to. If teachers aren't responsible for the well-being of students in their classes and in their schools, then nobody is. And teachers just have to continue to maintain that proud and that position of champion people. So thank you.
Thank you, Shanta. Thank you so much. So we're going to have Sharon, Edwin, and then Ed Reed. And then we have 4 more after that. Naomi, Saba, Sasha, and Tanya. Okay, so.
This is Edwin's turn. Hello.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Edwin. This is Edwin's turn or somebody else before?
Edwin.
Oh, okay. Hi. Well, it's my husband's name in the Zoom.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared to share my opinion, put my name out there because I work for the school district and I have 2 kids in the school districts and I don't know if they can take any precautions or not. I don't know what they can do. So just to keep myself safe, but I just wanted to say that it's not fair for us. I'm a classified employee and I feel so much pressure because they're asking us to go and volunteer, to go to the classroom and supervise kids if the teachers are not coming back. Why we have to do that? I'm not going to disrespect teachers who went to school for 6 years. They have all these loans behind their shoulders just to go over there and pretend that I'm a teacher that I'm not. I'm not going to do that. That's disrespecting my teachers, my son's teachers, my colleagues, my friends. I'm not going to do that. But here they are offering teachers $200 to go back and classify that actually feeling the pressure from principals to go back to be at the school site because families need that, Most of the school sites in the hills, they don't have that. They don't feel that pressure. But classifies who works in the 80s, who works in the 60s, 50s, 20s, all international, are feeling the pressure on that. Because what? Because we care about the community, because most of us, we're parents in the community. And some of us, we cannot share what we want to say because there's a different situation. You don't know everybody in the district. So you're scared of sharing your opinion because you're a parent, because if you share your opinion as a parent, you can get in trouble later. In another way, they find a way to do that. So I just wanted to say out there that our union has to protect us as well. They don't have to wait on their union to get a contract as well. All my teachers, I have teachers that they're having to travel, waking up at 4 a.m. to go to different cities so they can babysit their kids. Somebody else, a friend, can babysit their children to be able to teach in a room for 6 hours. They're neglecting their own child. Myself as well. I have 2 kids going to Oakland Unified District and I have a baby. I changed my whole environment in my house in order for me to do my work. But all of the sudden, I have only 2 weeks to find out daycare for my kids because 2 of my kids cannot go to school. And if I take one of my children to go back to school with me, my son has to stay 6 hours, 7 hours and a half with mask on next to me. And I have to be responsible for him because the district is not going to be responsible for him. That's the only way that I can go back to school and work. So there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of information that they're not being
We
Hi.
lost sound.
Yeah, we lost
No
you.
sound.
I said that a lot of the surveys are not realistic. We cannot translate it. We being trained in different systems that their district is not implementing and cancel at the last minute. So there's a lot of things that parents don't understand. And let me tell you, they believe people who works in the office and teachers. So this is why the kids needs to stay at home. What happened with the no school, no shots? We're in a pandemic. All of a sudden, everyone forgot about no school, no shots. We're exposing these children, they can die. Of course, there's no rates out there that kids are dying because what? We're keeping them inside. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Sharon. Sharon's a retired teacher from Oakland. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, now that you know I'm retired from Oakland, there's not one teacher I have spoken to that does not want to teach their students face-to-face in the classroom when it is safe. Many teachers have children at home and are well aware of the struggles of distance learning and trying to build relationships through a computer screen. It's even hard for many of us not to be tempted to go around our family and friends after we have had our vaccination shots. The environment has to be safe for those coming together outside of their family units or bubble. We all know how important human contact is, and we don't want to jeopardize their health and safety by coming together too soon. So please don't insist we go back to school before the school and communities have all the necessary CDC requirements met. Or someone may be sick, or worse yet, an outbreak, or worse yet, death. Without the proper kind of air ventilation, protective gear, effective deep cleaning devices used throughout the instructional day, distancing practice and boundaries, more personnel for teaching smaller class sizes, and medical and emotional support, deep cleaning, and constant COVID-19 testing, I just can't see how we think we're ready to go back this soon. Please do not open the schools for in-person instruction until it's safe. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Sharon. Ed Reed, PE teacher.
Good evening, everybody. Pray all is well. And first and foremost, I want to thank you, Mr. Mark, for giving me time to speak. And I'm gonna keep it very simple. And I always told Mark, I said, all it takes is one. And let's say we do go back in. All it takes is one. It just takes one kid or adult to contact the virus. Okay. Then the next thing you know, let's go to our beautiful children. Let's say if one of our kids contract COVID-19, right, and done everything the right way, distancing, everything. Let's say a person contracts COVID. That individual is out for 2 weeks or whatever is needed. Okay. What happens when the kid comes back, right? And you know, kids are kids, and kids gonna talk, right? Then the next thing you know, it can lead to, when the person gets back, that person's an outcast. It can lead to bullying, okay? And bullying comes in many ways besides physical. May not want to eat lunch with them at a distance, may not want to do this, may not socialize. They could be best of friends, okay? And then we coming back. Then next thing you know, okay, man, nobody likes me anymore because I got COVID. Now it's bullying going on. Now it's this. Then next thing you know, with the internet being the way it is, the one thing I do not want to see with our beautiful kids of Oakland is to read somewhere where they come back to school, they test positive, they were away for a couple of weeks, they come back, they're getting bullied by the kids, right? In many ways. And the person takes their own life. That bothers me more than anything. And I am so like, hey, teachers vote no, please. And to OEA, let's go back to the table with them. Let's hammer something better up than this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Reed. Okay, here's the last four: Naomi, Saba, Sasha, and Tanya. So Naomi.
Hi, I'm Naomi Katz, and I am a special ed teacher in East Oakland in the Fruitvale area. And like Adi, my school is also in the purple zone, deep in the purple zone. And this present TA does not take into account any of the differences between the different tiers that the schools are in. And that's very dangerous. The majority of our families have said that they do not intend to send their students back. They don't want to send their students back. And I personally have a room that's quite small. Most special ed teachers do. I have a window that opens only about an inch or two, and there's no ventilation in my room. Plus my program is one where I pull out students from different classrooms. So the whole idea of having stable groups, small stable groups, will go out the window, my small window, if I try to implement my program. So I think that there's a lot of money being thrown around. I think they're trying to buy us to come back, offering these stipends, but there's no amount of money that's going to make me come and endanger any of my students or coworkers who are not planning to get vaccinated. I'm just not in a position to do that for any amount of money. That's it.
Thank you so much, Naomi. So I think it's Sasha, then Saba, and then Tanya. Sasha?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me today. I just wanted to also check in and see if there's interpretation.
Mari's doing Spanish, if you'd like.
Yes,
I can interpret for myself if necessary.
Yes, I can interpret for you if you want.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure that we were still doing it so that I can go ahead and say my piece in English and then I can translate into Spanish.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Awesome, thank you. So first of all, I just want to say that I'm the senior parent organizer for Bay Area Plan. So yo soy una organizadora con la organización Plan. And we want to make sure that there is a safe return to in-person education. I don't think that this is the right moment. I've heard it from many of our families. So nosotros queremos asegurarnos de que los padres tengan y que los estudiantes tengan un lugar seguro cuando regresen a la escuela, pero realmente pensamos que este no es el momento preciso. We want to ensure that there's social emotional support, both if they decide to do in person and also in distance learning. Sé que tenemos que tener apoyo emocional para los estudiantes, aún si decidimos que los estudiantes estén en casa o si ellos deciden regresar a la escuela. We need small class sizes if this is going to be the route to go. Si esta va a ser la ruta que vamos a tomar, tenemos que asegurarnos de que haya clases pequeñas. We definitely have to understand that distance learning is a thing, so we need to improve to make sure that students are getting quality distance learning. Tenemos que mejorar la educación a distancia. Sabemos que esta es una realidad. Sabemos que esto es lo que estamos viviendo y es importante que la mejoremos. We also need unity between the students, parents, and teachers. Necesitamos unidad entre los estudiantes, los padres y los maestros. Because the stories that we're hearing out there are very limited. Las historias que hemos escuchado son muy limitadas. No están diciendo las historias de las personas que han sido más afectadas. So we're not hearing the stories of those who have been the most affected. I just want to say that as an organization, we are supporting the leadership development of parents. Como organización, estamos desarrollando a los padres. because from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of intimidation. We want parents to be prepared to have these conversations. Entonces nosotros queremos preparar a los padres porque sabemos que hay mucha intimidación ahorita para obligar a las familias a regresar. We don't want families to feel obligated to return. And so we want that those spaces where decisions are being made, that parents have a voice. Queremos que esos lugares donde las decisiones están siendo tomadas, que haya un espacio para los padres. We need language access. So tenemos que tener acceso a los diferentes idiomas. So I'm going to put in the chat my phone number and my email in case you want to connect with the network of parents that we have who are fighting for quality distance learning. And again, to ensure a safe return to school and that are supporting teachers, because teachers are part of our community. Entonces les voy a dejar mi número de teléfono, también les voy a dejar mi email. Si ustedes se quieren conectar con los papás que están luchando, como les decía, para asegurarnos de que haya un regreso a escuela seguro, para asegurarnos de que haya educación a distancia de calidad, y también que apoyemos a los maestros que no quieren regresar porque sabemos que ellos son parte de nuestra comunidad. Thank you very much for having me. Muchísimas gracias por tenerme el día de hoy.
Thank you. Okay, Saba, did you want to speak?
Sure, I'll keep mine very brief for the sake of time and to not be repetitive to everyone else who has spoken. I would just like to say, as an educator in Oakland, I do not agree with this decision to go back. It feels arbitrary to me, and it feels like it does not have the community's best interest in mind. Even if a community is in the red tier, that doesn't mean that it's safe. Some communities just went into the red tier last week. We were just in the purple tier. We do not know the progression of this virus, how it's going to be towards the end of the year. And so why are we rushing into something? Why are we putting our children's health at risk, their families' health at risk, even teachers who do not want to or have not decided whether they want to get vaccinated yet? I do not want to put anyone in my community at risk. Also, our students and their families have been through enough this year, and I feel like they have some systems set up now with distance learning. They're used to it. Why are we going to break that consistency for them for 5 weeks, 6 weeks of in-person learning, where we would have to then set up new norms, set up new systems, get them used to being back in person? By the time we do that, we've taken away from their education and the time that they could be learning. So again, I just personally don't think that this is a decision that has been made with the students and the community's interest in mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saba. And our last speaker, Tanya Kapner, a teacher at Oakland Tech. And the EON.
Yeah, I'm Tanya Kapner. I'm organizer with Equal Opportunity Now, by any means necessary caucus, and I've taught, high school in Oakland. This is my 27th year, and I am furious about this tentative agreement, and I'm urging all OEA members to vote no on this tentative agreement. I am voting no because it is not safe to return to in-person schools until there is near zero spread, and because we need to prioritize funding to help get hotspots and internet and resources out there for distance learning for the rest of this year, and stop another wave of COVID spread. We need to stand strong with the communities of Oakland to allow vaccination to proceed by voting no on this tentative agreement and staying with distance learning this year. There are 2 times as many white people who have been vaccinated in Alameda County as Black and Latino people. This is a civil rights issue. This is a students' life issue, as we know. Whatever the CDC says about areas where there are low spread, Oakland is high spread. Fruitvale and East Oakland are facing loss of life and limb. Teachers should not be going in risking their students' lives. Students need to have real opportunities for distance learning to stay safe this year. Oakland schools end at the end of May this year. It is insane to try to force every teacher into the schools in mid-April and to try to open up all the schools in mid-April when we have a majority of parents and students in many areas wanting to stay in distance learning. And when the teachers, could still be the vector. There is not, this is not acceptable. So I'm, calling on everybody out there, in the community to stand, for continuing distance learning and to ask your teachers, vote no on this tentative agreement so we can stay safe this year, so we can continue to save more lives. Shutting down the schools when the spread was low saved a lot of lives in the Bay Area last March. We are now just back to like November levels of COVID spread, which are way, way higher than was required to shut down the schools. We need to continue vaccination. My students, high school students, are only a few months away from the possibility of vaccination, possibly as early as the end of the summer. Why would we encourage them to go into schools now and give the virus more chance to mutate? Children should not die or get sick or bring it home to their families who are in crowded conditions, and, we should not force families off of COVID pandemic relief by taking a TA that's just a little bit of money to go in a month and a half before the school year, when we could be safe and we could save hundreds and thousands and we could prevent the spread of COVID in Oakland. So again, I just wanted to wrap up by thanking everybody, for your excellent statements about why it is not safe to return to in-person learning at this point. I am voting no on the tentative agreement. I urge everyone that's an OEA member to vote no, and I definitely want to continue to organize with the community here, the parents who have spoken out so much about not wanting to send their students in unsafe, and with the students who know it's not safe to go back. And I invite everybody to join the caravan, which I believe the information is in the chat, that is happening this Wednesday from East Oakland Pride, to say, no, we won't go back into unsafe schools. We should stand by the original strong demands of the Oakland education community for the lives of our community, which is not to go back until it's near zero spread. We should not go back, vote no on the tentative agreement. Thank you, everyone, for your wonderful statements tonight.
Thank you so much. So again, thank you again to everyone. The car caravan is Wednesday at 5 o'clock, East Oakland Pride, which is 8000 Birch Street. I don't know if there's questions from the press. Okay, I'm going to take that as we just said everything. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody. Hope to see you Wednesday, and keep up the fight. I know we can beat this TA. I know we can, and it's really a historic moment. We can make such a difference. The one last thing I'd say, and in terms of the community of Oakland, the Black and Latino community, all of Oakland, the youth of Oakland, standing with the teachers standing with the parents in refusing to carry out this program of blood money for endangering children. Standing together, Oakland can really change history at this moment. And I think Oakland has it to do that. So thank you again to everybody, and hope to see you soon. Hope to see you Wednesday. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see y'all.